If you're going to have a successful and financially sound career, you're going to need the right team around you. Undoubtedly, the three most important players on that team are going to be your manager, lawyer, and accountant. They're going to be with you every step of the way, making sure you get the best deals, best opportunities, and make the best decisions. Let's meet some managers, a lawyer and an accountant to find out what they do, what you should expect from them, and what it is they're looking for.
I'm Colin Lester, Co-Managing Director at Wildlife Entertainment. Wildlife Entertainment, we currently represent Craig David, Travis, the Arctic Monkeys, and Stephen Fretwell.
My name is Will Bloomfield. I work at Modest Management.
My name is Desmond George, Desi G, a lot of people know me as, and I co-own a company called Create Pursuits with Terry Starn and Bella.
Hi, my name's Albert Samuel. I'm chairman of the Mission Control Group of companies. We look after, amongst other people, the So Solid crew, Lisa Mafia, Blazing Squad, Kenzie, and several other clients.
My name's Jonathan Monjack. I am a lawyer and my firm is called Engel Monjack Solicitors.
My name is Jeffrey Kay. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a partner in a firm in the West End called Brighton Jeffrey James.
Management is a very, encompasses a lot of things. Management covers everything. You know, it covers looking after the artist from the day you meet them. You're looking after everything from their creative aspirations to protecting their financial situation to taking care of the environment that they work in. Just allowing them to go out and perform, write their songs, make their records, do what they've got to do, and we take care of, you know, I guess the rest of their lives within, you know, to a certain degree. Obviously, we don't send their dogs off to have a hair shampoo and things like that, but it's everything to do with their recording careers, per se, is what a manager does do.
A manager's duties really are to protect and develop the artist's career. We're not babysitters. I don't book taxis. If the artist needs that doing, then fine. But in principle, we're not there to book taxis or babysit or to give them alarm calls. If they really want to succeed, they should be capable of doing that themselves. It is about developing an artist's career. It is about strategizing it. And it is about trying to protect it if anything goes a bit pear-shaped.
My job involves, right now we manage Lamar and we manage Brian McFadden, and we have another singer-songwriter called Marley Buck who we manage. We also have a label deal through a major. So on one hand, my job involves the day-to-day management of the artists and helping to coordinate their schedules and pretty much every aspect of their day-to-day life.
The thing I look for in potential clients is the ability for them to be able to write and perform songs. That's the first thing I potentially look at. You know, I need to view an artist and be able to sit back and say, will this artist, or can this artist potentially play arenas within a 2-3 year period? If it doesn't tick the first box, then it's not something that I'm really that interested in. Do they write and perform their own material? Okay, then I'm interested. And then obviously, do they have the X factor? Because ultimately, all big artists, all big stars, they just have that something special that you have to look for. And we hear this X factor, whatever, you know, we're watching all these reality TV programs talking about the X factor. But there is an X factor in an artist that, you know, that big stars have it. And that's what you're trying to look for. And most importantly, you're looking for a hit record. Really simply, that's what you need. Someone walks through your door and they have a hit record, you're on your way.
The qualities I look for, loyalty, clarity, smart, talent obviously, and I should have said that first, but that goes without saying.
I'm looking for determination in a new client. I'm looking for commitment. It's a hard business. If you have an artist signed to a record label, a major record label, they have to understand that they are going to be racked in a store, in a record shop, next to perhaps Madonna or Britney Spears or Robbie Williams, and so therefore they have to put in the commitment, the time, the effort and the talent that those others are putting in. The competition is fierce, so they have to be really committed and fresh.
Artists should engage the services of a manager right at the beginning. I think it's a massive mistake. There's this great misconception with artists that, well, let's try and do the record deal, save our 20% commission, and then we'll employ a manager, and then the manager will make it all right, but we'd have saved our 20%. Big mistake, because you've now allowed two outside forces to make a deal on your behalf. A lawyer and a record company, which would most certainly make it quite often harder for a manager to put his mark or his stamp on a deal and progress. There may be certain things that a manager will require to do his job properly that may not be in a recording agreement. And if you go rewind all the way back to day one, it's not about getting a record deal. Getting a record deal for an artist is not a problem. It's about selling records, it's about selling tickets. But let's not lose sight of that. So doing the deal as such is almost an irrelevance.
I think it's a feeling for an artist. I can only guess, but that's my job. I think when you feel like you've got something special, when you have that passion in your heart, like, I can do this, I can really do this, that's when you go and look for a manager, and then you don't just meet one, you meet many. And then you kind of find out, this is about the common sense theory, you find out very quickly whether you've got enough material to have a manager. From the meetings with all the different ones, you find out whether you feel right, in the right space, because what usually happens is, where's your demo? You've done any gigs, you've done this, you've done that. Then you start to realise, okay, so you should take from that and reassess and reset.
I think artists should engage the services of a manager very quickly, particularly an experienced one. You don't have to be an experienced manager, but it certainly helps. And it certainly helps an artist when they're starting off, in terms of negotiating record deals, in terms of negotiating television shows, because a manager will be able to talk the language that the business side wants to talk, rather than what the artist talks, which hopefully is creative.
An artist needs to engage the services of a manager when, I believe, when they come to a point when their creativity is starting to suffer because of everything else that's going on. Until then, it's just not necessary, and I think a lot of artists look to managers very early on, too early, so that they start to worry about business, when in fact they should be concentrating on their art, music.
Boy, manager, man, they gotta expect everything. You know what I mean? Management is a very, very, very personal thing. People like to, I see all these kids talking about management, managers they've got, and that's my manager, and yeah. And they ain't got a clue, man. You know what I mean? It's like you and your manager have to plan your rise. You know what I mean? You and your manager have to focus on yours or your manager's misgivings, because everybody's human. You have to, it's like, how can I say? It's like planning a job, man, or planning a business plan for the next 5 years. It is that serious. Where do you want to be? That's what I start with. What would you do if you saw yourself on stage tomorrow with 20,000 people in front of you? Give me that image down to the finest detail. What would it be? And if it makes sense, then you turn around and say, you talk about how you're going to get there. And then if you're knowledgeable and you know what you're talking about, you'll really tell them how they've got to get there.
A client from a manager should expect, let's just say, they do expect miracles. And, to a degree, a manager isn't a miracle worker. A manager is a solid base that should be able to take an artist through all the different levels of their career and make sure that they are afforded the best possible opportunity at every level of their career, and to make sure and oversee every part of that, as whether it be the recording, to oversee the recording, to oversee the day-to-day issues, the diary, literally they're trying to arrange the international diary, but also making sure that the artist is well enough to actually see through the very, very long and arduous promotion itineraries that record companies ask artists to do on an international basis, and the manager's the person, unfortunately, that has to say, you know, that's great, and there's some great TVs in there in Germany and in France and wherever, but the artist can't keep that up. You know, he's working too many early mornings, too many late nights, and you know at that point you're the guy that's he's gonna lose his voice, or he's not gonna be able to perform, and you're the guy that's gonna have to say, cancel it. You have to protect the artist from that. You have to protect him and understand that there's certainly a logic to how you literally, you know, get the artist to perform and promote around the world. You know, I'm not saying they wrap them up in cotton wool and you have to mollycoddle them, but you have to be very aware that there's certain you know, limitations to every person. And when you're dealing with lots of different countries and lots of different territories, they don't really care that he's had a really hard time in France. He's in Spain today and we want the most out of him, and Spain doesn't care about Germany, and so on and so forth. So the manager has to make sure on a promotional basis that actually I've got to take care of that guy, and it's really easy to say yes. That's the most important thing to remember. Saying yes is easy because no one ever talks to you about, oh yeah, no problem. You don't get the phone call. It's when you say no, they can't do it. That's when the world and their brothers start phoning up saying, oh, you've got to do this because otherwise they're going to cut your promotion money here, your budget's there. You have to be strong, you have to understand the industry, and you have to know at that point, you know, why you're saying no, and be prepared to stand your ground. And that's important for a manager, you know, having the ability, the knowledge to be able to stand their ground and make sure that they're protecting the artist's interest at the same time.
An artist should expect from a manager or a management company, I think, firstly and foremost, a support network and someone. I think there are two aspects really. There's the business side and then there's everything else. So from a manager or from management, you'd expect contract negotiations and the business end to deal with your record company, and also to help with your personal life as your time becomes your own time becomes increasingly less and less. So I think pretty much everything is the answer to that question.
Well, I mean, basically, it's very important to have a good manager, because if you ain't got a good manager, you're stubbed already, because he's the one who's meant to be talking on your behalf.
See, what I'd say what happened with us, with our first 3 tunes, we didn't have a manager, and I didn't know nothing. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
We did get stumped a lot, and a lot of people made a lot of money out of us, and we didn't see hardly nothing really. And I reckon if we had a manager right at the beginning, we wouldn't have been so screwed basically. Yeah. But it's a learning process. Do you know what I mean?
If you're starting out, basically try and get a good manager from the off, because for one, just like what he says, you might go on your own, and then people are just like kind of knocking you slightly here and there, or you know what I mean, you don't know what's happening because you're not experienced in the business. You don't know what contract is. You look at it, it's just like, what? Do you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean, try and get a manager from the off if possible, a good one.
It's good, innit? Yeah, take 20%, give him loads of money. No, but it's important having a good manager because obviously he knows things that you don't know. Like with it, I wouldn't know certain things. Like certain things they tell me, and I just believe it, innit? Because it's just the way. But like someone that's been in the game for a little while and done a few deals and all of that. Yeah, that's important because you can get done up.
Well, my job involves many things. It depends on who I'm acting for, and I act for a very wide variety of clients. Record companies, publishing companies, merchandising companies, as well as artists and management on the creative side. My job will vary depending on who I'm acting for. If I'm acting for a company who seeks to acquire rights, then I'll try and acquire those rights for that company on the most favourable terms. On the flip side, when I'm acting for artists, my job will vary from negotiating their contracts in the most favourable terms possible to securing deals for them in the first instance and bringing them to the attention of the industry as a whole. I think someone should engage the services of a lawyer as early as possible. It really wouldn't be advisable to be talking to managers and record companies about deals without having the benefit of legal advice. Generally, lawyers charge hourly rates. However, in the early stages, lawyers may be prepared to waive their fees in order to assist bands developing, primarily because they really don't have the money to be able to pay such fees in the first instance. Lawyers will also agree on occasion to cap a fee so that the client will always know that he won't be paying anything more than an agreed amount. Good lawyers have good relationships with record companies. It assists their clients in being able to secure recording deals. So lawyers need to be able to speak to A&R departments, they need to be able to speak to managing directors so that they can introduce their clients' material into the record companies. I think the best advice that I can give would be ensure that you have a great team around you so that you can concentrate on the creativity. Artists know that they're not being ripped off because they will always have a right to audit. Hence, an accountant is necessary.
Well, my job as a chartered accountant in the music industry really involves looking after clients' affairs, mainly with regards to their accounts and their taxation. From there, you're adding really the specialised knowledge surrounding the industry as to their income streams, the type of problems they face in the music industry, and really helping them through the minefield of issues that they'll come across throughout their careers. So it starts off really in the first instance with the sort of the technical and bread and butter matters of an accounting practice and the sort of technical affairs they need taken care of, and then really adding on the commercial and business understanding of their day-to-day lives, really. Well, it really depends. In the first instance, you have what you classify as a basic service, which I suppose in some ways is dealing with the compliance matters of your client, and I think that would be the starting point, taking care of accounts and tax compliance, and then really it's what services you build around the basics, and of course along with that you get an increase in the fees. Some accountants will work with fee budgets. You give them a project or a list of services that you'd want in consultation with the accountant, and the accountant will come back with a fixed fee. Sometimes that's not possible because it's difficult to quantify or determine the end nature of a project, so you might have to leave it open on a sort of a rolling hourly basis. I think somebody should engage an accountant really when they start or are about to start trading. And that can mean at the point of signing a contract or at the time they're just about receiving their first money. I'd probably say in an ideal world it's better before you've started, so you can do some structural planning as to the way you're going to trade, through which vehicle you're going to trade, and how you're going to take care of the tax planning. So ideally probably just before those events, starting trading, signing a contract, receiving money for the first time, anything like that, but as long as it's shortly thereafter, then that's also probably doable. What people should be looking out for when they're engaging an accountant are, in the first instance, qualifications. You'd be looking for the kind of accountants that I mentioned earlier on, as to chartered accountants, certified chartered accountants, and other qualifications of similar nature. And that would in the first instance be, you'd see that by reference to either the letters after their name or on the letterhead, and if you wanted to go a step further, you could be in touch with their governing body to check that they were registered and bona fide practitioners.
it's all important having a good lawyer and accountant, but you also have to be clued up. You also have to know what you're talking about when you talk to your lawyers. You can't just say, yeah, okay, my lawyer's going to take care of it, because they, at the end of the day, they work for you, they're going to get paid. But if you don't specify what you want and what you need and, you know, poke holes in things, they're never necessarily going to actually just jump up and do it, you know? And that's standard of any lawyer, you know, unless he's got vested interests, as in like he owns some of your album, you know. I would say definitely just you educate yourself, as well as having a good lawyer and a good accountant that's going to make sure that your taxes are paid and put to the side, so you don't get any nasty surprises when it comes tax year. You know, make sure that's paid and put to the side, put it in reserve. You know, you got to have your people that take care of you, but you also have to know the things, so you educate yourself. Good lawyer is important to go through all of them papers and read the small print. That's always important. And a good accountant, yeah, it's important when you're dealing with money, like a lot of money that you haven't really seen before, and it's all legal and it's not in the night box under the bed. It's all, you need to be proper, and you need to pay your taxes, or they will come and get you, and you need to invest your money well, and things like that. He will give you advice on things like properties and that, which is the best thing for you. Need a good accountant. Having good accountants and good lawyers, I mean, again, it's finding the right accountant and finding the right lawyer, because again, I can say from the start, we've probably wasted half of the money that we've earned out of the music industry on accountants and on lawyers. So really, again, we've only probably just now, right, found an alright accountant, right? Lawyer we're yet to find that's a good one, yeah? But I don't know, lawyers cost a lot of money, whatever you do.
Basically, you spend all sorts of years, you spend a lot of money on them, and then bankruptcy still lands on you. You know what I mean? So what's the thing, you know?
Again, it's just maybe take it from other people, advice if they found a good one or whatnot. And again, the most expensive one is definitely not the right one.
Not the key to no.
Having a good lawyer and a good accountant is probably the most important thing, to be honest, because at the end of the day, as much as you might be an artist because you love music, because it's fun, because of whatever other reasons other than money, at the end of the day you still got to pay the bills. No one wants to go bankrupt, and if you don't have somebody there looking after your money and helping you to make it grow, it will go. It's just like any other job. It's not like you get money and it just keeps coming in. It's not like that, you know. If you haven't got a good lawyer and a good accountant, you can fail yourself a lot quicker than anyone else will, basically.
With all this media attention and your new team in place, it won't be long before the A&Rs come knocking.